say he was faking, like he was teary-eyed. That is exactly what Autumn Klein's mother said in court today as prosecutors continue to present their case against Klein's husband, Dr. Robert Ferrante.
The Pitt researcher accused of poisoning his wife with cyanide was in court as well, listening to his mother-in-law tell jurors how he lied. Pittsburgh's Action News 4 reporter Marcy Cipriani live downtown. And Marcy, some pretty compelling testimony today.
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. Dr. Autumn Klein's mother testified for about 50 minutes, and she talked about what a great mother her daughter was and what a great daughter she was. And then she also told the jury how her son-in-law acted when she first saw him just after her daughter had collapsed. She testified that she and her husband were waiting at the couple's home for Robert Ferrante to come back from the hospital. She says he came in the front door and he didn't see me. He looked fine. And when he saw me, he started faking, trying to make like he was teary-eyed and crying. Lois Cook Klein testified that although her son-in-law did not want an autopsy, she says she absolutely did. She wanted to know why a healthy 41-year-old would suddenly die. We also had a chance today to hear from many of Dr. Ferrante's co-workers.
Yeah, and Marcy, these people, they knew him, they knew his wife well. What did they have to say?
Yeah, we heard from two of Dr. Ferrante's researchers. One of them actually talked about him as kind of a person who was a hard worker. The other one seemed to think that he was often frustrated and angry at his staff, but both agreed that he did work very hard. One of the researchers who came with him from Boston here to Pittsburgh to work in the lab at University of Pittsburgh is the one who called him a hard worker, and he actually says he saw Dr. Autumn Klein on the day she collapsed earlier in the day in the hospital, and he testified that his name is Dr. Jin Ho Kim. He told the jury that when he saw Dr. Autumn Klein on the 17th, she was very pale and looked tired. He said that he was so concerned about her appearance that he asked her if she was okay, and that he had never asked her that before in the 6 years since he had known her. Just a few hours later, that's when Dr. Autumn Klein collapsed inside her home. So we heard lots of evidence today from different researchers. We heard talk of cyanide, and what the prosecution believes was that the cyanide was mixed with creatine inside the lab. Of course, they believe Dr. Robert Ferrante did that. Ferrante's defense team says he had nothing to do with it. And then just a short time ago, inside the courtroom, there was mention of a suicide note, and we have a picture of the shredder that suicide note was found near, according to the prosecution, and they say that was a suicide note that Dr. Robert Ferrante wrote after his wife died. So a lot happening in the courtroom today, and we have much more for you coming up. For now, reporting live, Marcy Cipriani, Pittsburgh's Action News 4.
All right, Marcy, thank you. A lot to digest there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Pittsburgh's Action News 4 is committed to covering this trial, and we know you have a lot of questions. So do we. So tonight, we're going deeper with a perspective that you're not going to see anywhere else.
All right, we're going to bring in Pittsburgh's Action News 4 reporter Bofta Yimam. Bofta's live downtown, and you've got some legal analysis now from Pittsburgh attorney Steve Townsend, who we've heard from before. Bofta, what's going on now?
Absolutely, and Marcy just mentioned two key pieces that came out today: the victim's mother's testimony and also those shredded letters. A financial fraud expert was going in to look for records inside of Ferrante's home when those shredded letters were found, and they actually hand-pieced them back together. Joining me now is our legal expert, Steve Townsend. Steve, thanks so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about what kind of impact this could have, those shredded letters right in front of the jury box. Let's get straight to it. The details, the impact of that.
Well, I think today, if you're the prosecution, you had a great day. You started out with an emotional testimony from the mother, then you ended with the testimony from the suicide notes. But as far as the mother is concerned, she was very telling in her rendition of her relationship with both her daughter and her son-in-law. So she actually put a personality to not only her daughter, but a personality to who she believed her son-in-law was, especially when they arrived home and his reactions to them being in the house.
And those letters, seeing those letters being read aloud inside of court, is that what the jury may be thinking about tonight? What was Ferrante planning on doing after Klein's death?
Well, I think it was clear after reading those letters and reading them to the jury slowly over and over that he was leaving. One way or the other, he was going to leave. And I'm not sure how the prosecution is going to play this in the end. I'm sure they're going to say that he had a guilty conscience, and that's exactly why he was writing those letters to his daughter and other family members. The defense is going to say, you know what, he couldn't take this anymore, being accused of what had happened here. You know, he was just going to end his own life. But for whatever reason, he wrote those letters, and it's going to weigh heavily on the jury.
What does the prosecution and the defense each need to do at this stage in the game?
I think they need to close in and make this story a little cleaner and a little, throughout the testimony today, it was a little disjointed going from witness to witness. Now, it's my understanding that the prosecution is going to fill in the pieces of the puzzle eventually. I think it's about time that they get to those pieces of the puzzle, because I think the jury is weaning for that information.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today. Steve Townsend, our legal expert, will of course continue to follow this trial. You can follow the very latest on WTAE.com. Bofta Imam reporting live downtown.
All right, Bofta, thank you. And Pittsburgh's Action News 4 will be in the courtroom every day of this trial. Look for continuing coverage on air and also online at WTAE.com.